Welcome to the King Tales. Thank you for the love and support. Let's dive in. You knew she was mine, yet you took her from me, Obina roared, his voice shaking with fury. Don't tell me to calm down. This is your doing, and I will not let it slide. The gods may have chosen her, but I will fight with my last breath. The morning sun rose gently over the kingdom of Amazi, bathing the land in warm golden light. In this ancient Igbo land, life followed the sacred traditions of the elders and the will of the gods. Round mud huts with thatched roofs stood neatly arranged in family compounds, surrounded by lush green fields. Each day, the villagers swept the earth clean, and children played freely under the watchful eyes of their parents. Amazi was peaceful, orderly, and deeply rooted in custom. At the edge of the village lived Obina, a brave young warrior in his early 20s. Tall and strong, with broad shoulders and dark, youthful skin, he was known throughout Amazi for both his courage and his kindness. Though fierce in battle, Obina possessed a tender heart, shaped by the lessons of his parents, strength to protect the weak, and patience to guide the strong. Not far from his home lived Adais, a beautiful maiden of the same age. Her name meant princess, though she was not of royal blood. Graceful and kind-hearted, Adais was loved by all, her bright eyes and warm smile bringing comfort wherever she went. Obina and Adais had known each other since childhood. They chased goats through open fields, laughed beneath the open sky, and grew side by side. As the years passed, their friendship blossomed into a deep and undeniable love. By the time they became young adults, the entire village knew they were meant for each other, like the sun and the moon, different yet inseparable. The elders often nodded approvingly when they saw them walking together to the stream or the market, praising their respect, diligence, and harmony. Each day, Obina trained at dawn, sharpening his skill with spear and machete before visiting Adai's compound. Sometimes he helped her father tend the yam and cassava farms. Other times, he sat beneath the great udala tree as Adais sang soft folk songs while she walked. In the evenings, villagers gathered around the central fire beneath the ancient Iroko tree, where elders told stories of ancestors and gods, teaching the young the values of honor, loyalty, and tradition. One evening at dusk, as the sky burned red and orange, Obina walked Adais home from the stream. She balanced a pot of water on her head with effortless grace, while he carried a bundle of firewood on his shoulder. They laughed softly, teasing each other as the stars began to appear. At her compound gate, Obina gently set the pot down and spoke with quiet hope. Soon, he said, his eyes shining, we will be one family. Adai's heart fluttered, for in her soul, she already believed it to be true. Adais understood exactly what Obina meant. They had spoken of marriage for months and dreamed of it for years. She lowered her eyes shyly, a soft smile on her lips, and whispered her agreement. Soon after, they wished each other good night. Obina watched as Adais disappeared into her family's hut, her graceful figure fading into the twilight. A warm glow filled his chest as he turned toward his own compound, certain that his future was bright and full of love. His mother was already calling him in for the evening meal. That night, Adais spoke softly to her mother. Mama, I am sure Obina will soon speak to father about our marriage. Her mother smiled and rested a gentle hand on her daughter's shoulder. My child, you are ready. Obina is a good man. When he comes, your father and I will give our blessing. We have prayed to the gods, and we believe this union is right. Adais slept with a smile that night, dreaming of a simple life as Obina's wife, waking beside him each morning, cooking for him, raising children, and growing old together in love and laughter. In his own hut, Obina shared his intentions with his parents after their meal of boiled yam and palm oil. Father, mother, he said respectfully, I wish to marry Adais, daughter of Noi. His parents exchanged pleased glances. His father clapped him proudly on the back. My son, you have chosen well. Adais is already like a daughter to us. His mother nodded, her eyes shining. We will visit her family in a few days to begin the marriage talks. By the gods' grace, there will be a wedding before the next harvest. Obaina felt both relief and excitement. In Igbo tradition, marriage was a family affair, but he knew this union would be welcomed with joy. Soon, quiet whispers spread through Amazi that a wedding might be near. Neighbors smiled knowingly when Obaina and Adais walked together in the market. Everything seemed perfect. Yet fate, like the harmattan wind, could change without warning. Behind this happiness stood ancient traditions and unbreakable customs, laws handed down by the ancestors and feared by all. The people believed that defying them would invite the anger of the gods upon the whole kingdom. For now, the lovers gave no thought to such things. Beneath the moonlight, as crickets sang and silver light touched the thatched roofs of Amazi, Obaina and Adais whispered prayers of gratitude. They asked the gods to keep their love strong and never separate them. The night was calm and beautiful, but it was the calm before a storm. Days later, excitement filled the village as preparations began for the annual harvest festival. Huts were repaired, paths swept clean, and new clothes sewn. This year's celebration carried greater weight, for it was during this festival that Prince Akena was expected to choose his bride. By ancient custom, the prince would walk among the unmarried maidens and select his wife by touching her in public. Once chosen, the maiden had no right to refuse, for the gods were believed to guide the prince's hand. Obaina knew this tradition well, yet his heart was at ease. Prince Akena was not only kind and humble, but also Obaina's friend. The royal family lived close to the people, and the prince often trained alongside common warriors. Barefoot on the red earth, he sparred with spear and sword, earning the respect of men like Obaina. One bright morning before the festival, Prince Akena arrived at the training grounds as usual. Obaina was already there, teaching younger warriors a new spear technique. The prince watched with admiration before stepping forward. Obaina noticed him, smiled, and struck his chest in salute. "Akena, my brother," he greeted warmly. The prince grasped Obaina's shoulder and laughed. "You fight like 10 men, Obaina. If danger ever comes to our borders, I know who I will call first." Obaina laughed softly, unaware that destiny was already stirring. "Thank you, my prince. I learned from the best," Obaina replied, bowing his head slightly in respect, acknowledging Akena's own skill. Prince Akena leaned closer with a grin and lowered his voice. "I hear congratulations are in order. The whole village says you will soon marry the lovely Adais." His eyes shone with genuine happiness for his friend. Obaina felt warmth rise in his chest. "Yes, my prince. My parents will visit her family after the festival to speak formally. Adais and I have waited a long time for this." His voice softened when he spoke her name. Prince Akena patted his back. "She is a wonderful woman. She will make a good wife, and you, a good husband." Then he sighed, a shadow briefly crossing his face. Obaina noticed at once. "The festival is near," Obaina said carefully. Akena looked toward the distant green hills where women walked gracefully to the stream, water pots balanced on their heads. Among them, he thought he saw Adais. He knew her by sight, her calm beauty, her gentle presence. He also knew how unforgiving tradition could be. "The elders have decided," the prince said quietly. "At the festival, I must perform the wife selection ceremony. The gods will guide my hand." Obaina finished the thought for him. "But you wish you could choose freely." Akene gave a sad smile. "Yes. I do not wish to bring sorrow to anyone." Obaina placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "You carry a heavy duty, my friend. But the people trust you. The gods will guide you." Though comforted, unease remained in the prince's heart. He wished there were another path, one where love came naturally, as it had for Obaina and Adais. Across the village, excitement grew among the young maidens of Amazi. None spoke louder of the coming festival than Adiku, a striking girl with sharp eyes and an ambitious heart. The daughter of a minor chief, she dreamed endlessly of palace life and royal power. One afternoon, maidens gathered beneath a mango tree, braiding hair and singing as they prepared decorations. Adais sat quietly on a woven mat while another girl braided her hair. Nearby, Adiku strung bright beads for a waist ornament. "I will dance at the front," Adiku declared confidently. "The prince must see me clearly." Some girls giggled. "Do you think you dance better than all the maidens of Amazi?" Adiku lifted her chin. "I deserve to be queen." Adais said nothing. Her heart belonged to Obaina alone. A younger girl asked innocently, "Adais, what if the prince chooses you?" Adais froze. "No," she said quickly. "That will not happen. I am promised." Adiku smirked. Who would refuse being queen? Though Adais dismissed the thought, a small seed of fear settled in her heart. Festival day arrived. Drums thundered, palm wine flowed, and the air filled with laughter and roasted food. Adais dressed in red and gold to honor her culture, not the prince. Obaina wore a warrior's tunic, standing proudly by her side. As the king and elders took their seats, silence fell. "All maidens of marriageable age, step forward," the chief elder commanded. Adai's hand trembled as she released Obaina's grip and joined the others. She stayed toward the back, praying silently. Adiku pushed eagerly to the front, radiant and confident. Prince Akena stepped down from the platform, his heart pounding. He walked slowly along the line of maidens. Drums were silent now. Every breath was held. He nodded politely to each girl. Adiku fluttered her lashes when he passed. Just behind her stood Adais, eyes lowered, fear racing through her chest. The prince was about to move on, when suddenly, a shout rose from the crowd. And destiny shifted. Perhaps a child had climbed a tree for a better view and nearly fallen. The sudden shout startled Adais. Instinctively, she stepped sideways, slipping slightly out of the line of maidens. At the same moment, Adiku, eager to remain in the prince's view, shifted her position and accidentally bumped into another girl. The girl stumbled backward into Adais, knocking her off balance. Seeing the commotion, Prince Akena reacted without thought. A maiden was falling. He reached out quickly to steady her. His hand closed gently around her arm, stopping her from hitting the ground. It happened in a blink. Adais looked up in shock to find the prince standing before her, his hand still holding her arm. A collective gasp swept through the crowd. Prince Akena froze as realization struck him with horror. His hand, protective, unintentional, had touched her. The sacred act of selection. "No," Adais whispered, her voice breaking as tears filled her eyes. From only a few steps away, Obaina felt as though lightning had torn through his chest. He surged forward instinctively. Before he could speak, the chief elder lifted his ivory staff and declared in a booming voice, "The gods have chosen. The prince has found his bride." Cheers erupted, mixed with murmurs of awe. To the people, it looked perfect, the beloved prince holding the most beautiful maiden in Amazi. Cries of congratulations rang out. They did not yet see the heartbreak unfolding before them. Prince Akena released Adais at once and stepped back, his face pale. Adais trembled, covering her mouth as sobs escaped her. "This is a mistake," Obaina shouted, forgetting all protocol. His voice cracked as he wrapped an arm around Adais protectively. The crowd's cheering faltered. Confusion spread. The elders frowned sharply at Obaina's outburst. Even the king rose from his seat, alarmed. "Silence," an elder commanded. "The prince has chosen according to sacred custom. It cannot be undone." Dread twisted in Akena's chest. He looked at Obaina, his friend, holding Adais, the woman he loved, the woman Akena had just claimed without meaning to. "I didn't intend this," the prince pleaded softly, but Obaina's eyes burned with pain and fury. Adais stepped forward, tears streaming. "Please," she cried, finding her voice. "My heart belongs to Obaina. This was an accident. A wave of shocked whispers rippled through the crowd. Never in living memory had a chosen maiden spoken against the god's decision. The eldest priestess of the earth goddess spoke solemnly. Child, the gods do not know accidents. What has happened is their will. You must accept it, for the good of all. Adais looked toward her parents. Her mother covered her mouth in fear. Her father stood frozen. She understood then that refusal could doom them all. Obina's mind raced. He wanted to take her hand and flee, but he knew the kingdom would hunt them as traitors. Prince Akena stepped forward, his voice trembling but firm. People of Amazi, elders, hear me. I touched this maiden only to save her from falling. I did not choose her. The square fell silent. The head elder replied gravely, to deny this bond is to deny the gods. Trapped by duty, tears burning his eyes, Akena turned to Obina. My brother. I swear I never meant to hurt you. Adai's shoulders slumped as reality crushed her. Tradition had swallowed them whole. At last, the king spoke. The ceremony is ended. The will of the god stands. Take Adais into palace care. She is now betrothed to the prince. Two attendants approached. One gently took Adai's arm. Obina tried to follow, but a guard stepped between them. Adais looked back once, her eyes full of love, apology, and heartbreak. Obina reached out helplessly, whispering her name. As she was led away, Adeko watched with fury and disbelief. Her dreams of the throne shattered in an instant. Obina stood frozen, fist clenched, fighting tears as the crowd slowly dispersed. Then he turned and ran, past huts, past fields, to the Udola tree where he and Adais once dreamed of forever. There, alone, he finally broke down, crying out to the silent sky as distant drums mocked his grief. In the palace, Adais stood in a grand courtyard that felt like a prison. Prince Akena lingered nearby, unable to speak, crushed by guilt. Thus, a festival meant for joy became the birth of tragedy. By tradition's hand, love was torn apart, and Adais was bound to the prince by custom. Obina's world lay in ruins, and Prince Akena himself was torn between loyalty to his friend and duty to his people. As the sun sank over Amazi that day, its golden light darkened into a deep, burning red, as though the sky itself shared in the blood-colored pain spilled within innocent hearts. When night fell, it came heavy with sorrow, and the lives of Obina, Adais, and Akena were forever changed. That night, grief hung over Amazi like a dark cloud. In Obina's family compound, his parents sat outside their hut with anxious faces, waiting for their son to return from wherever despair had driven him. In Adai's home, silence reigned. Her parents sat stunned and fearful, unable even to speak to their daughter before she was taken to the palace. They feared for her happiness, and feared even more the consequences of questioning royal tradition. Inside the palace, Adais sat alone in a spacious chamber prepared for her. Oil lamps cast a soft glow over fine mats and carved stools, far richer than anything she had known. Yet she would have given it all to be back in her mother's arms in their humble hut. She had cried until no tears remained. Now she sat empty, staring into nothing. A gentle knock broke the silence. Prince Akena entered quietly, having dismissed the guards and elders. The attendant closed the door behind him. Adais looked up and saw his eyes were red, as though he too had been crying. Prince Akena, she whispered, bowing instinctively. He sat a respectful distance away. Adais. I had to come. I am so sorry. I never wished for this. For a long moment, she said nothing. Then, in a tired voice heavy with pain, she asked, how could the gods be so cruel? You know I love Obina. Everyone knows. Akena nodded slowly. He is like a brother to me. I swear to you, I never meant to choose you. My hand moved only to save you from falling. His voice broke. I never meant to take you from the man you love. Adai's lips trembled. Intentions do not change what has happened. The elders will not undo this. They would rather see us all suffer than question the gods. Akena lowered his head. If I refuse, I lose everything, my throne, my people's trust. My father says the kingdom itself could fall into chaos. She studied him then, and a trace of pity entered her grief. He too was trapped. Yes, she said softly. We are all trapped. She straightened and spoke with painful clarity. Your Highness, I will obey. Not because I want this, but because my family could suffer if I don't. But know this, my heart belongs to Obaina. It always will. Each word struck like stone. Akena nodded sadly. I understand. I promise I will never force your love. If this marriage must happen, I will treat you with respect. She believed him. Later that night, Obaina returned home under the moonlight. His knuckles were bruised, his eyes swollen from tears. His parents rushed to him, embracing him tightly. I lost her, he whispered hoarsely. I lost Adais. How can the gods allow this? He cried. We loved each other truly. Is that a crime? His parents had no answers, only comfort. That night, many in Amezi lay awake, questioning fate in silence. The following days were heavy and subdued. The palace announced the royal betrothal with ceremony, but behind the smiles lay quiet suffering. Obaina threw himself into work and patrols. Adais moved through palace life like a shadow. Prince Akena fulfilled his duties, his smile hollow. Then came new trouble. A messenger arrived breathless at midday with grim news. The neighboring kingdom of Aboja had begun raiding border villages. Crops were burned. Blood was spilled. The council gathered at once. Obaina was summoned. The elders spoke of strength and retaliation. Prince Akena stepped forward. I will lead our warriors myself, he declared. The king turned to Obaina. Will you fight beside my son? Obaina struck his fist to his chest. Yes, my king. I will defend Amezi with my life. As preparations for war began, fate tightened its grip once more. Hearts already wounded would soon be tested by fire and blood, and the coming storm would reveal both heroism and betrayal. The tragedy was not yet done. As preparations for war filled Ame with urgency, blacksmiths worked through the night sharpening blades while women prepared food for the departing warriors. From within the palace, Adais learned that both Obaina and Prince Akena would lead the battle, and fear gripped her heart at the thought of losing Obaina forever. 2 nights before the army's departure, she slipped out of the palace under cover of darkness to see him one last time. Beneath the moonlight, the lovers shared a forbidden moment filled with unspoken love, promises, and quiet despair, knowing fate stood between them. Unknown to them both, Adiku's jealousy had hardened into treachery. Consumed by envy, she conspired with Ikedi, a resentful warrior, bribing him to poison Obaina during the campaign so his death would appear an accident of war. When battle finally came against the kingdom of Aboja, Obaina fought with unmatched courage, leading his people with strength and honor. Yet as victory drew near, the poison weakened him, slowing his limbs at a fatal moment. Though the enemy was defeated, Obaina fell, dying in Prince Akena's arms after begging him to protect Adais. The battlefield fell silent as triumph turned to grief. Obaina, hero of Ame, was carried home with honor, while far away, Adais' heart was destined to break with the coming news of his death.